things. Like we just got to cross our T's and dot our I's. Yeah. I almost said that backwards, but we're good. But, we just have to double check that the people that we're working with are legitimate and know what they're talking about. And I think it's just like, it's so cool that you have this really unique perspective on Amazon, because everybody that's listening right now, they've bought something on Amazon. They've had an Amazon experience. Like we all know that it is constantly changing. They introduce one click and like all the other, like, I can't say their names, but the other devices that we have, like there's so many different things that have come on the scene in just the last 5 years that I can only imagine how much it's kind of gone up and down and all around. But the thing that I'm really curious about is if someone's listening and they're just getting started, what is the thing that requires the heaviest lift to even get started on Amazon? Like, do you need a storefront first? Do you need your product? Do you need your, like, what is the thing that they have to figure out before they even know if Amazon and selling on Amazon is a good fit for them?
There are so many research tools out there to see, like, number one, is there even a demand for this product on Amazon? So thinking about Amazon, you have to think of it as the largest shopping search engine out there. Yeah. It's not a traditional retailer where there's end caps, there's merchandising. So if you have this really unique out there product, it still gets visibility. If you have a product that no one is searching for, you won't sell any units unless you invest a ton in advertising and really have to have that brand awareness budget, which, let's be honest, unless you're VC backed, it's probably not a reality. Yeah. And also, as we've seen in the last year, spending money without having a profitable business that bubble seems to have popped a little bit, which I am a big advocate for classic business fundamentals. You can obviously go in the red for a period, but you need to have a path to the green. Yeah. So I think when it comes to getting started on Amazon, number one is the product. Is the product a good fit for Amazon? If you are selling a hair care line and you're supposed to take a quiz and it's custom by the results of the quiz, you may not be a good candidate for Amazon because it's not really a customizable platform at this point. If you have a really expensive item, also probably not a good match. And the other thing is, on the flip side, is if you have a really commoditized product and you don't have a unique differentiator, it's going to be tough unless, once again, you can compete on price or you have a very healthy ad budget. So from a fundamental standpoint, it always starts with the product. The second thing is the inventory planning. And I think for a lot of small businesses, this can be a challenge because obviously buying inventory is a big cash constraint. And it's the educated guess of the century when you're trying to build these forecasts of allocating the cash that you have to buy the inventory and to buy the right inventory and then to sell through that inventory so you have more cash to buy more inventory and so forth. But really thinking it through, because a mistake I've seen some smaller businesses make is they think they can just pull their Amazon inventory from what they've projected for maybe their wholesale or their D2C channel. And the problem with that is if Amazon does really start to take off, then you go out of stock. Yeah. And going out of stock on Amazon is a kiss of death. There is a rumored saying out there that for every day you're out of stock on Amazon, you lose relevancy you lose 4 days of relevancy. So what that means is, because it's a giant shopping search engine, SEO or search engine optimization is a huge component of your visibility and driving sales.
Yeah.
So if you do all of this work, all of this marketing to get to page one for a keyword that's super important for your product, and you go out of stock, you essentially have to, and you're out of stock for a long period, you essentially have to do a relaunch. And I've seen businesses never really be able to fully recover from that.
Wow. It's so cool because I feel like you're giving us like the behind the scenes like lingo and like the cool things like
Yeah,
that
hopefully
we
I'm
wouldn't
speaking
know.
English still.
Yes, yes. No, this is so good because I think that having your perspective, because like I said, most people listening only have the perspective of being a consumer or maybe really looking at Amazon from a digital marketing perspective. Like, can I do this? And I love that you mentioned SEO. I love talking about SEO on here. It's so important, but it's one of those things that I feel like it's this big mystery because we've heard for a long time that we've got to optimize for Google and search engines. And I love taking some of those same applications and thinking about them in Amazon as the largest shopping search engine. And with that, I'm so curious because I was checking out, I was doing my due diligence. I was looking at your website earlier, and I love the idea of kind of not putting everything in your basket when it comes to Amazon, but having that digital marketing feeding with your website and Amazon and all of that. So can you kind of explain that strategy? Because I can imagine the people listening to this, like my listeners, they're content creators. Like at their core, that is their marketing funnel for their business. They're doing podcasts, they're doing social, they're doing blogs, they're doing email newsletters. So they understand the importance of SEO, but I can see them right now. They're like, well, if I'm going to talk on my podcast, do I need to send them directly to Amazon? Do I need to send them to my website? Like, do you have any input on the strategy that they could follow for something like that?
Absolutely. Well, so I think the first thing to clarify is an Amazon SEO strategy is very different than a Google SEO strategy. Right. And there are, of course, tactics to leverage Google SEO to drive more Amazon SEO.
Oh, interesting.
So Amazon SEO is very unit sold driven in my experience. So what that means is Amazon's algorithm tends to reward and give more visibility to not the highest revenue grossing products, but the products that move the most units, which to some brands, that's actually very different than a lot of retailers, right? But Amazon wants that replenishment, build the addiction, as we've all seen or experience ourselves. And then there's also all of the copywriting and the titles and then the bullet points and things along those lines. Where everything you do on Google, in my opinion, I actually think Google SEO is a lot more challenging than Amazon. Because I just feel like there's so many more levers that you can pull. But we are seeing something interesting right now where external traffic seems to be weighted more heavily in Amazon's algorithm, and they're rewarding external traffic more. And in fact, they even launched a program back in I think it was July 21, maybe it's a little bit later in the year, but it's called the Amazon Brand Referral Bonus, where they'll actually send you or pay you as a business 10% for external traffic that you drive to Amazon. And I'm sure that this is a tactic on their end because, like every marketer right now, we're all trying to figure out how we can acquire customers profitably. And Google and Amazon have a complicated relationship. And Amazon and Facebook have a complicated relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So why not have the brands be the influencers of the traffic instead of Amazon going out and buying that traffic?
So this is so interesting. I feel like we just opened Pandora's box because like you said, it's like all the giants of the media space, the shopping space, consumerism, like it all really comes down to being a savvy marketer. And that means so many different things. I think being a digital marketer is a complicated relationship because I feel like you can be really awesome in one very specific way. Maybe it's content creation for somebody that's listening to this, but they hear SEO and they want to pull their head like under the covers and say, I don't want to do it. Like I can't, it's too much. It's really hard. And I think that it's just going to continue to evolve and change as the world does. And I'm really curious to know, like, what do you see as far as Amazon trends like going in the future? And I don't know if that's really a question for a business owner or more from the consumer side, or maybe it's one of the two, but do you have any insight on what we can kind of expect to see? I mean, this episode, like, just a disclaimer, we're recording this before the holidays, but this is going to be after the holidays whenever it goes live. So maybe you have some insights that we can put into 2023's holiday, Black Friday, whatever shopping. But do you have any insights?
Yeah, well, I think to me it's obvious, but it's probably new to a lot of your listeners, which is that Amazon is going to become a major media player as we move forward. So their media business has grown year over year. Like, what their media business is today is light years ahead of what it was when I initially worked there back in 2015. And it's interesting because you don't actually think of Amazon competing directly for the ad dollars that Google and Facebook are competing for, but now they are. And now there's even upper funnel marketing opportunities, meaning now that Amazon is more into the streaming channels, they have the relationship with the NFL. I forget how many billions or hundreds of millions of dollars they paid for that Thursday night football deal. But like, one of my predictions is that as Amazon becomes more dominant as a media player, I think maybe one day you'll even be able to buy a Super Bowl ad through Amazon's media network. And the reason why Amazon has the power to be such a leader here is that they have so much data on us in terms of our shopping habits, in terms of the address, the deliveries are going to, like, there's so much, where Google obviously knows what you're searching. Amazon knows what you're buying, which is way more transactional. And Facebook, they were able to do a lot of cookie tracking as well and building really effective audience lookalike segments. But what Amazon has to offer, I think, is just so much more data rich and will continue to be able to provide very targeted messaging for brands.